extent of the honey fraud is just skyrocketing. It is getting out of control.
In the last decade, there's been an increase in honey spiked with syrups like rice and corn.
That jar on your counter, the one you drizzle into your tea, swirl into your oatmeal, give to your kids because it is natural, because it is healthy, because it is honey. Except there is a very good chance it is not honey. Honey is the third most faked food on the planet. Not occasionally faked, systematically faked. At scale, on shelves you shop every single week. 70% of the honey sold in American grocery stores has been stripped of everything that makes it honey. 10 brands doing it, 2 that are not.
And we have a consumer alert tonight about one of the most popular brands of Greek yogurt, Chobani. People complained about the taste of some of the yogurt.
Yogurt is one of the foods Americans most consistently associate with health. The protein, the probiotics, the calcium, the morning ritual of a yogurt cup has become synonymous with taking care of yourself. And for older Americans managing bone density, digestive health, and daily protein intake, that association is not entirely wrong. Genuine yogurt made from quality milk with live bacterial cultures and minimal processing is genuinely good for you. The operative word is genuine. Because the yogurt aisle in the average American grocery store contains products that use the word probiotic to sell a cup of sugar. Products that market themselves as containing no artificial flavors or sweeteners, while using synthetic fermentation-derived compounds that a federal court has allowed a class action to proceed over.
Fast this along, a Wisconsin company is recalling nearly 300 types of canned coffee because of the potentially deadly risk. There are no reports of anybody getting sick, but Snapchill issued the recall voluntarily after learning their manufacturing process.
Coffee looks pure, right? Rich aroma, morning ritual, the energy boost that starts your day. But pour the wrong cup, and what you are really drinking is mold toxins, banned chemicals, and microplastics leaching straight from those convenient pods. For seniors watching Heart Health or families giving coffee to teenagers, this is not just bad caffeine. It is a health trap disguised as your morning comfort. In today's video, we are exposing 7 coffee brands you should never drink, even if they have sat in your kitchen for decades. Stay tuned until the end because we will also reveal 2 brands that are actually clean, tested, and worth your trust. Let us expose them all. 7. Folgers. Classic Roast. The iconic red plastic tub. Waking up the nation for generations. It is the default coffee in office break rooms, church basements, and senior centers across America. At a few pennies per cup, you have to ask yourself what exactly you are paying for. Folgers relies heavily on commodity Robusta beans, not the delicate shade-grown Arabica beans that health experts recommend. Robusta beans are cheap, harsh, and heavily sprayed. These plants are grown in massive, clear-cut sun plantations. To survive without the natural protection of the forest canopy, they are drenched in synthetic pesticides. The FDA allows trace amounts of these chemical pesticides to remain on the roasted beans. The key word is trace. But what happens when you drink 3 or 4 cups every single day for 30 years? The cumulative exposure is staggering, but the beans are only half the problem. Look at the packaging. That massive red tub is the key word is trace. But what happens when you drink 3 or 4 cups every single day for 30 years? The cumulative exposure is staggering, but the beans are only half the problem. Look at the packaging. That massive red tub is made of soft, pliable plastic. Coffee beans contain natural oils. These oils act as a solvent. When roasted coffee sits in a soft plastic tub inside a hot warehouse for months, those oils begin to pull phthalates and chemical plasticizers directly out of the packaging and into the grounds. You brew that moistures directly out of the packaging and into the grounds. You brew that morning cup. The hot water extracts the caffeine, the flavor, and the invisible plasticizers. Seniors who have been drinking Folgers since the 1970s, suffering from mysterious acid reflux and joint inflammation, you are drinking a highly acidic, pesticide-heavy commodity crop stored in leaching plastic. The red tub, you need to see the brand at number 6. 6. Maxwell House. Good to the last drop. That is the slogan. The reality is much darker. Maxwell House is
Nearly 300.
All right, now to new warnings this morning about an American staple, rice. Consumer Reports is releasing a new report detailing what it calls worrisome levels of arsenic in many common types of rice products.
We have covered rice on the hidden menu before. We told you that independent laboratory testing found arsenic in 100% of the 145 rice samples tested from stores across the United States. We told you about the class action lawsuit filed in federal court. Naming specific brands after independent testing confirmed inorganic arsenic concentrations as high as 169 parts per billion,
Wow.
nearly double the FDA's limit for infant rice cereal. We gave you 5 brands to trust and 5 to avoid. The response told us something. Thousands of viewers wrote in asking the same question about brands we had not yet covered. Brands that are in their pantries right now, brands their families have been eating for years, brands they could not find on either list. So we went back. We examined 6 of those brands, the ones that came up most often in viewer questions, against the same documented testing data, the same federal court proceedings, the same geographic sourcing evidence, and the same arsenic science that informed our first rice video.
Have you noticed the incredible shrinking toilet paper roll? Consumer Reports checked sizes and number of sheets and found that some rolls have gotten a lot smaller. A Scott roll, for example, is down 21% in the past 6 years. Cottonelle shrank 23%.
Independent laboratory testing found PFAS chemicals and formaldehyde in some of the most popular toilet paper brands in America. Forever Chemicals, a known carcinogen, in a product applied to the most sensitive and absorptive tissue on the human body multiple times every single day. This is not a surface contact product the way a kitchen counter is. The skin in that region absorbs at rates significantly higher than your hands or your face. Whatever is in that paper transfers. Whatever transfers accumulates. 7 brands are failing that test right now. 3 are not. If your family uses any of the brands on this list, you need to hear every name before the next grocery run. Let's get into it. Number 1. Charmin Ultra Soft. You know the bears. The Charmin bears have been selling softness to American families since 1976. Father bear, mother bear, the cub with the perfectly clean bottom. The brand built an entire family identity around the idea that the right toilet paper communicates care. You choose Charmin because you care about your family's comfort. The squeeze test became a cultural reference point.
Right.
The softness became the standard everything else was measured against. Independent laboratory testing found PFAS chemicals in Charmin Ultra Soft. Not in a cleaning product, not in a non-stick pan. In the toilet paper applied to the most sensitive and absorptive tissue on the body of every family member, including children and pregnant women. Multiple times every single day. PFAS are forever chemicals. The human body cannot metabolize or eliminate them. They accumulate in tissue with every exposure. They have been linked to cancer, thyroid disruption, immune suppressing infrastructure to screen toilet paper for PFAS contamination, but every family member, including children and pregnant women, multiple times every single day. PFAS are forever chemicals. The human body cannot metabolize or eliminate them. They accumulate in tissue with every exposure. They have been linked to cancer, thyroid disruption, immune suppression, and reproductive harm. Procter & Gamble owns Charmin, a corporation generating over $80 billion annually across dozens of household brands. The testing infrastructure to screen toilet paper for PFAS contamination before it reaches store shelves exists at that revenue level without meaningful financial strain. The decision to implement that testing voluntarily and disclose results publicly has not been made. Here is why this entry is more serious than a typical contaminant. Laundry detergent stays on your clothes after they are washed. Not all of it rinses out. The residue left behind, the fragrance, the optical brighteners, the preservatives, sits against your skin every hour of every day that you wear those clothes, is inhaled when you breathe near freshly laundered fabric, and transfers to your bedding where you sleep for 8 hours a night. For most Americans, that residue contains chemicals they have never heard of and cannot find on any label. Here is what the laundry detergent industry has never put on the front of the bottle. A compound called 1,4-dioxane, classified by the United States Environmental Protection Agency as a probable human carcinogen, is not listed as an ingredient in any laundry detergent because it is technically not an ingredient. It is a manufacturing byproduct that is created during the production of certain synthetic surfactants. The companies that make it do not add it intentionally. They simply have not removed it. And because it is not an ingredient, it is not required to appear on any label. In 2022, the state of New York made it illegal to sell laundry detergents containing more than 2 parts per million of 1,4-dioxane, reduced to 1 part per million in 2023. Before that law took effect, independent laboratory testing commissioned by a consumer safety organization found the highest levels of 1,4-dioxane in the most familiar brands in the laundry aisle. 4.28.
Big headline about the hamburgers we all buy at restaurants across America. Tonight, a major recall, 1.8 million pounds of ground beef because of E. coli. ABC's chief medical editor, Dr. Richard Besser, on what you should do the next time you order the burger.
Your burger is poisoning you, and the companies making it know exactly what they are doing. That patty you bought yesterday contains ingredients banned in Europe, Canada, and China. Things that have been linked to cancer, ADHD in children, and diabetes in lab animals. But here in the US, they are perfectly legal. In the next 20 minutes, I am going to expose exactly which 10 burger chains you need to avoid and why. I will show you what is really in them, what it is doing to your body, and most importantly, what you should be buying instead. By the end of this, you will never grab the same burger again. 10. Sonic Drive-In, the nostalgic drive-in experience. The hot dog is one of the most American foods there is. Backyard cookouts, baseball games, 4th of July. The hot dog has been part of the American summer for over a century. And most Americans who reach for a package at the grocery store have a vague, comfortable feeling that they know what they're buying. That comfort is built on deliberate obscurity. Hot dogs are exempt from the requirement to list specific cuts of meat on the label. A hot dog that contains mechanically separated poultry, a paste-like substance produced by forcing bones and attached tissue through a high-pressure sieve, can list it simply as mechanically separated chicken in the ingredient statement, with no further explanation of what that means or how it differs from the chicken breast most consumers picture when they see the word chicken. A hot dog that contains corn syrup does not need to explain why a savory meat product requires a sweetener. And a hot dog that has been the subject of a federal recall for listeria contamination, for excess sodium nitrite, or, in the most extraordinary case on today's list, for 58 million pounds of product recalled for wood pieces embedded in the batter, does not need to put that information anywhere on the new package. 58 million pounds. We will get to that. Today,
Eating a tuna-heavy diet was more expensive than it should have been, thanks to this man. A grand jury has indicted Bumblebee Foods CEO Christopher Liszewski on price-fixing charges. Prosecutors say he conspired with other people in the industry to eliminate competition by fixing the price of canned tuna. 2 other Bumblebee executives have already pleaded guilty. The company agreed to pay a $25 million fine.
scientists ran DNA tests on canned tuna bought from grocery stores across America. What they found was not tuna, escaler, a fish so toxic to the human digestive system that Japan and Italy have banned it from being sold entirely, sitting in cans, labeled as tuna, on shelves you have been shopping from for years. That is not the worst part. The worst part is which brands the testing flagged. Names you grew up with, names your doctor never told you to avoid, names sitting in the pantries of pregnant women and cancer patients right now because the label said tuna and nobody checked what was actually inside. 7 brands investigated, only 2 are actually real fish. Let's open every single one. Number 1, Starkist. Charlie the tuna has been trying to get caught since 1961. That is the joke. The mascot with taste. The fish who wanted to be good enough for Starkist. Generations of American families grew up with that cartoon playing on their television sets. Charlie became one of the most recognized brand mascots in food history. Parents bought Starkist. Their children bought Starkist. Their grandchildren are buying Starkist right now without a second thought. Charlie never mentioned the federal criminal conviction. Here is what happened. Starkist, Bumblebee, and Chicken of the Sea coordinated pricing across the American canned tuna market for years. They conspired to fix prices so that regardless of which can a consumer picked up, they were paying whatever the cartel had agreed on. The Department of Justice investigated. Starkist pleaded guilty to federal price-fixing charges in 2019. The company was fined $100 million. $100 million in fines. Charlie kept smiling on the can. That conviction alone should give every family pause before the next purchase. You are paying a premium for words like all natural, superfood, and only natural ingredients. But who is checking whether those words are true? Federal courts have been, and what they found should make every health-conscious shopper stop in the middle of the grocery aisle. Coca-Cola's lawyers argued in federal court that no reasonable consumer would believe vitamin water is actually healthy. That was their defense, and the court agreed. A $9 million class action settlement forced one of the most recognizable health juice brands to remove the words all natural from its label, after 11 synthetic ingredients were found inside. A federal warning letter told a beloved snack bar company it was illegally using the word healthy on its packaging. And an April 2025 lawsuit found plastic chemicals in a yogurt marketed as containing only natural ingredients. Today we are covering 5 health food brands whose dollar
Runs out of power. British apple orchards have declined by over 60% since the 1970s, but the number of apple varieties on your supermarket shelf has never been higher. That is not a coincidence. That is a business decision, and it is being made at your expense. Right now, today, Tesco, Sainsbury's, and Asda are filling their shelves with apples flown in from New Zealand, South Africa, and France. Imported, stored for months in controlled atmosphere units, and sold to you as fresh produce. 8 varieties ranked worst to best. By the end of this video, you will never reach for an apple without knowing exactly what you are actually buying. The one at number 1 will surprise you, but the one that is disappearing from British shelves right now and nobody is talking about it, that one will make you angry. Stay for both. Before we get into the ranking, you need
More cases of salmonella popping up across the country. 317 people have now become sick in 20 states.
The CDC confirmed it. A multi-state salmonella outbreak traced to a major fried chicken delivery brand. 7 people hospitalized. 10 states affected. 2025. At the same time, the USDA quietly dropped a proposed rule that would have forced poultry producers to limit dangerous bacteria levels in raw chicken and turkey. A rule designed to prevent over 125,000 cases of food poisoning every single year. Gone. While the chains keep advertising fresh, breaded daily, made to order. 5 chains are hiding behind those slogans right now. 2 have actually earned them. If fried chicken is a regular part of your family's routine, you need to hear every name on this list. Number 1, KFC. The Colonel has been feeding American families since 1952. The bucket, the original recipe, the 11 herbs and spices that became one of the most guarded secrets in food history. KFC is not just a fast food chain. It is a generational institution. Grandparents brought their children. Those children brought their children. The red and white bucket sitting on a family table communicates something beyond a meal. It communicates continuity, comfort, a brand so embedded in American family culture that questioning it feels almost disrespectful. Then Danish food safety authorities closed all 11 KFC locations in the country at the same time. Not one location, not a regional cluster. Every single KFC in Denmark simultaneously shut down after a television investigation triggered a full regulatory response. Inspectors went into every location and found the same problems running across all of them. Systematically falsified across multiple sites as a pattern. Breading mixes reused far beyond any safe protocol. Mold growing location, not a regional cluster. Every single KFC in Denmark simultaneously shut down after a television investigation triggered a full regulatory response. Inspectors went into every location and found the same problems running across all of them. Use-by dates on raw chicken systematically falsified, not accidentally mislabeled. Systematically falsified across multiple sites as a pattern. Breading mixes reused far beyond any safe protocol. Mold growing on kitchen surfaces. Raw chicken sitting in a semi-defrosted state for days with no way to trace how long it had actually been thawing. That is not a local franchise problem. That is a systemic operational failure replicated across every location in an entire country. On this side of the Atlantic, the documentation is equally concerning. In Michigan's Ottawa County, a KFC failed health inspection with conditions that local health officials designated as imminently hazardous. That specific phrase has a regulatory meaning. It means immediate risk to public health, not a future concern, not a minor procedural gap, immediate risk. The violations included unsafe food storage temperatures, unclean food preparation equipment, and employees observed handling raw chicken without following established glove and hand washing protocols. For seniors and families with children, the imminently hazardous designation is not language to read past. Seniors with compromised immune systems and children whose immune responses are still developing face significantly higher risk from salmonella and campylobacter exposure than healthy adults. The same chicken that causes a rough night for a young adult can put an elderly parent in hospital. KFC has responded to individual violations with corrective action statements. The pattern of violations across locations and countries suggests the corrections address the documented incident without resolving the operational conditions that produced it. Walk into any KFC location and take a breath before you order. The oil smell is familiar and genuine. It communicates exactly what decades of brand building trained you to associate with comfort. That smell is not a safety indicator. It is a sensory memory. The inspection reports are the safety indicator. The Colonel built something real. What is happening in those kitchens right now is a different story entirely. The next chain has been serving Southern Fried Chicken since the same year the Colonel opened his doors. What inspectors found inside their kitchens is anything but Southern hospitality. Number 2. Church's Chicken. This one was built for working families. Church's Chicken has been serving Southern Fried Chicken since 1952. The original recipe. The honey butter biscuit. A brand that working families across the South have treated as an affordable, honest meal for generations. Not a special occasion. A reliable weeknight dinner at a price that respects a tight budget. Heritage brands like this earn loyalty slowly and hold it. Has been serving Southern Fried Chicken since the same year the Colonel opened his doors. What inspectors found inside their kitchens is anything but Southern hospitality. Number 2. Church's Chicken. This one was built for working families. Church's Chicken has been serving Southern Fried Chicken since 1952. The original recipe. The honey butter biscuit. A brand that working families across the South have treated as an affordable, honest meal for generations. Not a luxury, not a special occasion. A reliable weeknight dinner at a price that respects a tight budget. Heritage brands like this earn loyalty slowly and hold it for decades because the families buying them never feel the need to question something that has always been there. Detroit health inspectors gave them a reason to question it. A Church's Chicken location in Detroit was shut down following an inspection that documented violations serious enough to end service on the spot. Spoiled poultry with expiration dates from several days prior was still in active preparation, not discovered in storage, in preparation, being processed for service to customers who had no way of knowing what they were about to eat. Raw chicken was being thawed in standing water, not refrigerated water, standing water. Thawing in standing water is one of the most direct pathways.
More cases of salmonella popping up across the country. 317 people have now become sick in 20 states.
The CD